Oh god. All right. So I'm going live for like maybe like an hour, if that's maybe like 30 minutes here, just to check this stuff out. I didn't even realize this was going on.
As military personnel or prominent government figures, the leaders come in so many different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific and cultural prodigies, and many more.
Each leader in Ara has a number of
So this
special
is an
abilities
Xbox
determined by their
showcase,
personality traits,
developer
as well as a
direct
powerful
thing
and unique leader
showcasing
trait
the new games that they
informed
have
by their
going on.
contributions to world history.
With a diverse global roster,
Again, I didn't even
we know
realize this was
players will
happening,
find
so
leaders that
a
they
little
will
late to
want
the
to
party.
play. And even a few that may
I got some
surprise
thoughts.
them with how fun it is when those leaders are handed the reins of power.
I'm gonna be snacking over here.
For us at Oxide, player feedback is the only way to really understand what you're making. It gives us that priceless perspective from the people we're making Ara for, you.
Building the game alongside real players has given us
making
that
it for
critical
yourself,
player
don't lie to me.
feedback. In the end, we believe this makes for a deeper connection between the players and the game.
One of my favorite
Just really quickly.
introduced the concept of dangerous wildlife to the game.
Make sure.
It turns out, in our first iteration, it was maybe a little bit too aggressive or disruptive.
They're eating
We
everyone.
knew we should probably make a change when one of our insiders made a forum post that was just,
Cougars, cougars,
Cougars, I hate cougars!
"Someone get these feline demons away from me." I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of mountain lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other.
It's been 10
And we're so excited that
years.
we can finally see
Might
the
have.
finish line. We can't wait for players to get their hands on the game later this year.
But the launch of Ara is only the beginning.
Ara.
We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for
Nice.
joining us today. We can't wait for you to play Ara and to
Ara.
create your own history.
It's on Game Pass. I might check it out. I might give it a once over. I might try it. Okay. They got one last game. We're going to be watching this basically in reverse. I'm going to watch the ending stuff first and then... Oh, this is the Indiana Jones game. Oh, shit.
Hej och välkommen till Uppsala, Sverige, här hos Machine Games.
Hello
We
from
are
Sweden.
really excited to finally be able to share our work on Indiana Jones. Since the first film came out, Indiana Jones has always represented the ultimate adventure. Even today, it's one of the most iconic franchises in pop culture. In this game, you aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones. You will see through his eyes and experience a journey that we hope lives up to the proud legacy of Indiana Jones.
Is it going to
When
be...
Todd Howard first told us about his vision for the game, we knew we would be a very good
Todd
fit
has
to
something to
help
do with
bring it to
this.
life.
Oh, boy.
I've wanted to make an Indiana Jones game forever. I'd had this idea for what it would be like and the story, what Indy was going after, what period of his life it was in, what kind of arc he was going to have.
Is Han Solo
And
going to be
as the
Indiana
years went on,
Jones?
I
This is
thought,
my big
who would be
question.
like the best studio in the world to make this? And it was my
If it's
friends
not,
at
it's
Machine
just going to be
Games.
awkward.
I can remember pitching Lucasfilm on the game and being, a little bit nervous because, look, it's, Indiana Jones, and their response was just overwhelmingly positive, and just that excitement has bled through the whole project, and they have just been so trusting and supportive of everything that
Boy,
we want
after
to do with the game.
Starfield.
It's been a
I
long
like
time.
Starfield,
I've been
but
a
everybody
fan of
else
this
is
my
all-
whole life,
Everybody
and I couldn't
fucking
be
hates
more
Todd Howard
excited
now.
to show you what the team here has been up to. Let's take our first look at the new Indiana Jones game.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones.
Oh.
While you were playing your pointless game,
It's a big face
I
reveal.
was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have
Big face reveal.
built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Yeah, they got it. Oh, shit. It's actually Harrison Ford. Mr. Han Solo himself. I have no connection to this. Did he do the voiceover?
History. Just different ways to interpret the past.
I don't think it's his voiceover. They got his likeness, though.
Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried.
You know why they got it? Because they use Lucasfilms. Lucasfilms owns the likeness of Indiana Jones like that. So.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me.
I guess I'll have to go through and watch all the Indiana Jones movies, and I've been wanting.
Throughout history,
I've been looking for a reason to.
Mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle.
Shit, that does sound pretty damn close. I don't think it's Sarah's player. It sounds pretty close to it.
I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me.
The whip?
It ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
Patron of the fallen angels. Protector of the Circulimani.
Uh-oh.
The Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
Imagine the casting process on that.
Indiana Jones is such an iconic character, and he
looks
means
good.
so much to so many people.
That's like the first thing that I've seen
Everyone
on this whole
here
damn
at the
thing that
studio
actually looks
has their
really
own
good. Makes me go,
stories and memories.
I actually want to check that out.
Most of us grew up with his adventures and have been fans of the movies and the character for years. He's a brilliant archaeologist.
That might be the first time I've seen an Xbox game
He's
maybe hold up with the
determined.
PlayStation Studio
And for
styles.
us, he's synonymous with adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that best through first person. It's the ideal perspective to bring you into the rich, exciting and interactive world we've built. We believe that being up close and personal to the adventure is key, making each action feel like your own.
Whether it's cracking your whip, solving puzzles in ancient temples, or seeing your knuckles go bloody in a fistfight, all of these moments are much more intense in first person. But we still want you to have those moments. Seeing his iconic silhouette with the hat, the whip, and so forth.
Then why
things
not
like
make it third
cutscenes
person?
in environmental traversal, we pull the camera back for a third-person view.
Then why just not make it third person overall? You could
Indiana
literally
Jones and the
be
Great
going
Circle is
against
set between Raiders of the
Uncharted.
Lost
Is
Ark
done.
and The Last Crusade.
Xbox could
When our game
straight
begins,
up just
Indiana is working at Marshall College.
You know,
he wakes up in the middle of
yoink
the night
whatever the
to
hell
the
you want to use
sounds
for
of
a
a
word.
break-in and rushes to
All the
confront the
Uncharted
thief in the
fans
college
with this.
museum.
Instead they go
The
first person
mysterious
shooter.
giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's curiosity.
They're this close to
Following the
doing-
trail, Indiana heads to
doing
the
it.
Vatican, hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen, and discovers
Everybody who
that
gets
things
motion
aren't
sickness,
what
they
they
ain't
appear.
gonna be able to play this game.
He
It's first
starts
person.
pulling at the strings of a mystery, and it all unravels until he has no choice but to see it through to the end, whatever the end may be.
On next plane to Rome. Stop. Need help. Stop. Meet me in Vatican. Stop. Indy.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles
Dude, what the
when we
fuck
were
is up with
thinking
this
about the
development
type
team?
of game we were making. It wouldn't be Indy if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic Indiana Jones experience we can make is the one that makes you think first.
Getting the hang of this.
Sure, there will be some obstacles that will be more easily overcome with the revolver or a gun taken from a disarmed guard. But I think most of the time you'll have more fun, and to be honest, a more genuine indie experience by finding more clever ways to solve a problem.
We always want to be offering more solutions, whether it's trying a
different path
through
also,
the environment
right?
to get around enemies, observing enemy
You know what
patrols and
sucks
using
about
them to
this
your
is
advantage,
mod support is going to be very limited because
or
it's
using the
first-person
tools
shooter.
at your disposal.
Look at
like the
Cyberpunk.
whip.
It's an amazing global adventure, with action propelling you through your journey.
We have these really diverse environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the pyramids of Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location and the time period the game is set in, and we're trying to make it as authentic and accurate as possible.
We love creating rich, vibrant worlds, and in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
Which is what they should be going for.
One of the biggest ways to do that is with the music. John Williams is the original composer for the Indy films,
right?
And we're really lucky to have found Gordy Hub, a composer who's been able to capture Williams' essence with his score for The Great Circle.
We don't have the original composer, but we got somebody who likes to copy him.
We also take a very movie-like approach to things like cinematics.
We couldn't afford the original.
We're very physical with our production style. We use a lot of stunt actors.
No, there's
Things
John
like
Williams
this
is
help us
getting up
bridge
there in
the
the
gap
age, so
between making a game and making a movie.
And of course, our characters do a lot to help bring the world to life as well. Next to Indy, Gina is our other main protagonist.
But it's all in
where
first
Indy
person,
is
so you
pursuing
can't actually
answers just
see
for the sake of
Indiana
curiosity.
Jones's
Gina has a
stuff.
personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Nice.
Gina is an investigative reporter who
That's
has a
the Lara
lot
Croft
riding
of the
on this
game.
adventure. She's been tracking a lead for some time, and now she's found an ally in this determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other.
So basically,
in order
this
to
is
get to the
trying
bottom
very
of this
hard to be
mystery.
both Uncharted and Tomb Raider at the same time, but it's in first person, so they missed the mark by a mile with it being first person.
We always love our villains and think we might have found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss.
They were this
He is
close, and then they
intensely
took the wrong
psychological
turn
man.
right there.
He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating
I
it.
guarantee if this comes to
highly
PC also, there's going to
and
be
the
a
perfect
third-person
boy for
mod
Indy.
like
They're
that.
both
No problem.
brilliant people, compelled by their
There's a lot of
passions
people that
and
can't do
obsessions,
first-person shooters.
but driven down wildly different roads.
He creeps up on you and gets under your skin like he gets under Indy's skin. It's captivating.
Dead and forgotten in the
The faces look really good.
of Africa.
One of our models for
It's definitely
Indiana
got an art
Jones
style
and the
to
Great
it, but-
Circle
Yeah,
is
look at
adventure first.
every single
but in
one of
every
these
indie
are-
adventure,
every single
there
one
are
of them.
always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
That's been one of those balancing acts for us, and we've ended up with this sort of hybrid experience that mixes melee
That's
combat,
the first
stealth,
regular
and
person
gunplay.
I've seen
How
on
you
this development.
approach any given situation is up to you. You may choose to sneak around an enemy patrol, or maybe you'll just
Everyone
pick up a
else is
shovel
making a
and
little
whack them on the
statement with
back of
their
head.
appearance. So
and
that
when you
means they're
can't use
artsy
your
fartsy.
wits, you got Indy's most iconic
And that's the
tool.
reason why the art style is the way
Just
it
like you
is.
see in the movies, one of our goals has been to make the whip as fun and multi-purpose as possible. We want it integrated into every
Yes.
aspect of the game.
It should
You
be.
can use it as a traversal tool to make your way around the environment.
Good.
You can use it as a distraction. And yes, you can absolutely use it in combat. Everything you'd expect from Indy's whip, and hopefully a little bit more. Puzzles are a key feature in our game. The spirit of discovery is so important to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them. Epic traps, small secrets, and hidden
what?
puzzles that blend right in with their surroundings.
One thing I love
But
about
that's
our
the
game
point
is the level
of Indiana
interactivity
Jones
that
is
we
he's a
have. We
Tomb
have this
Raider
world of
going through all these
mystery where
puzzles
anything
and
could potentially
defying
hide a
the
secret.
deathly odds of
The
the
more you look,
and they're
the
all
more you'll
optional?
discover.
Huh? What? So what do you actually do? You just run through a linear path and then go, nah, I don't feel like doing a puzzle today, and then just go right to the...
I want to thank you all for joining us for our big reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
That whole part
Machine
didn't make any
Games is
sense
known
whatsoever
for
from a
creating these
design
roller
point.
coaster
What?
experiences with huge set pieces, surprising twists, and immersive narratives. It's exciting for us that we have been able to stay so true to the Indiana Jones franchise and create such an authentic experience while still being able to showcase what makes us us. We are making a game for everyone, whether you are very familiar with the franchise or not. Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think that's something everyone wants to be part of. I'm also very excited to announce that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year, and we cannot wait to share more soon.
There's a lot here that looks like it's good and it works, but then there is just some major flaws that we're seeing also. You're not going to see any character progression because it's in first person. Launches later this year. It's coming to Game Pass, so there's nobody going to buy it. Everybody's going to just Game Pass it. Guarantee on that. I 100% guarantee that everybody's going to say this looks like a last-gen title because of the art style that's being thrown into it. And this is the outro.
Should I take one?
Is it animals, children, and game developers?
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech.
So, Aura might be the only one that actually kind of hits all the marks, funny enough, in all of this presentation and everything. A world builder that's a very niche genre, though. Like, that's probably one of the smaller genres in gaming. Witchy witchcraft, basically, masked in a first person shooter. Okay, that's fine. Visions of Mana, that's top tier, but I guarantee that's going to be on every platform, so that's not an Xbox exclusive. The Indiana Jones game is first person, where it should be 100% should be third person, just like the Avatar game. I said the same thing about that one too. Like, it's just stupid to make why make an adventure game where you're flying and dipping and dodging all over the place first person shooter? That makes the controls so much more difficult. Also, the character development on it is just non-existent because now you are trying to be Indiana Jones. And again, too, it's like first person shooters are made to put you in the center of the action, but then you have Harrison Ford's likeness as Indiana Jones. So what the fuck? Which game direction are you trying to go with it? What's the presentation on it? Is it that you're trying to experience Indiana Jones as that it is Indiana Jones, or are you trying to be Indiana Jones? That makes no sense. Then also that whole bit that they just said about the you can just skip all the puzzles. Well, then what again? What do you even do in it? That doesn't make sense either. Then what's the point of it? Yeah, very weird, very, very weird choices. The Mana one looks pretty cool, but I have no connection to the Mana series whatsoever at all. But I do think that the Mana thing does look really, really cool in the sense that they're taking it from the old school JRPG design to it. And they're bringing it into like a Final Fantasy VII remake type of design where it's where you're running around the map and you're doing it's more of an action game than it is an RPG at that point. But that is going to it's going to introduce the Mana series to a lot of people that don't like RPGs. There's a lot of people out there that don't like RPGs, or old school JRPG style games. They just don't like them. The turn-based stuff. For every one person that loved Baldur's Gate, there is about 5 others that will turn the camera down through, plug in a controller like I've been playing it, and not do the over the top tabletop type of situation like that. So, yeah, again, Xbox is just they're they're betting on these studios. Almost everything goes to Game Pass on that also, but they're betting on these studios they're more or less AA quality studios, and then they wonder why they're not making AAA money back off the product. On top of also putting it in the Game Pass, where you can essentially just pay the lowest tier price and get access to all this stuff for the month. So yeah, Senua, that one looks all right, but again, that is kind of a niche genre. So Phil Spencer said that Senua Hellblade 2 is going to hold up with any PlayStation Studios first-party titles. And I can guarantee you it will come close, but it's going to be still kind of a distant afterthought to it, because what is essentially Last of Us? What is God of War? What is all these games where it's like you're on this adventure with this little kid? It's father Sims, it's dad Sims, whatever you want to call them. But that is something that is like everybody can kind of relate to that, you know, the parenting role in those games. What is Hellblade? It's essentially, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of trying to experience somebody having a psychic break, that's a very niche thing. The reason why Resident Evil does so well is because it's a horror genre, which most everybody gets into horror genre, but it's a survival thing of, okay, they are the smartest people in the room. They know exactly how to handle the situation. So it's basically it's your action movie set in a horror genre. That's why Resident Evil does so well. Everybody loves an action movie. A lot of people, you know, probably majority of people love the horror genre. So you mix those two together, you got Resident Evil. Cool. With Senua, it's like, I don't even, in all honesty, like I platinumed the first game. I really wouldn't care to go back and play it over again, because it's like, okay, yeah, I went through that whole thing of like she's having a psychic break, The combat was kind of annoying because it's very stiff. The puzzles probably were the best thing about Senua's whole journey, because the storyline is just her going nutso and just being like, shut up, the voices in my head, and that's pretty much the game. Oh my god, she's looking for her lost love and the voices in her head, and she's all meh. She's going nuts over it. Okay, she's having a psychotic break. We get it. So where's the character arc to that? It just keeps going with it. It seems like her character arc is now the second game. So what that's telling me is the way that their style of writing is there probably isn't going to be a huge dramatic character arc again for this one. It's just going to be her going through like the stage 2 of a psychic break into the point where the third one might be finally the final character arc for her. And then we get a full story after 3 games. That's kind of a hard sell there, especially when it's, like I said, it's a niche genre of a horror game. Essentially, like, is it a horror? That's the other thing too. Is Hellblade supposed to be, is it puzzle? Yes. Is it horror? Yes. Is it action? Just barely. So you're basically, to me, it was essentially just a puzzle game with a horror theme. That's why I was like, oh yeah, it's a cool indie game. All right. And for some reason, Microsoft goes, we're going to buy it, we're going to invest in it, and we're going to try our hardest to make something that is just basically an indie idea into a AAA big budget idea. Maybe they can pull it off. Maybe, who knows? Hellblade 2 might be one of the best games of the year. It could be game of the year material. I don't know. We haven't seen it. We haven't gotten hands-on with it. Well, we've seen it, but we haven't gotten, until we get hands-on with to see, you know, is the control stiff and is the pacing good and all that from one story beat to the next. It's like, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I was going to do a full-on recap of everything, but in all honesty, after seeing the grand finale right there, it's just like, man, that is just, Indiana Jones could be such a, like, Indiana Jones have everything that they showed right there. That could be the PlayStation thing that they hold, you know, that they keep up with PlayStation with. That could be not the PlayStation killer, but that, you know, everybody's looking for Xbox to come out with that thing where the Xbox fan base and owners can go, ha, we have something on you. And Indiana Jones in first person. In what? The only thing I can think of is, again, when you look at who's on the staff and you look at the art style, and it's like those folks are, I guarantee you, they're not narrative. That like majority of that team is probably not huge on narrative. It's more of a gameplay and artwork team. That's what you probably have, like their specialty on the team is making very cool artworks and making, like, story comes second after making cool puzzles. But then they just got done saying that, like, that the puzzles are optional in an Indiana Jones game. What? How the fuck does that even? As soon as I heard that line, I'm like, what? Oh God, the replay's got to be up on. Let's just hold on. Let me actually watch that part of the showcase again. Oh, this is fucking IGN. I don't care about IGN. IGN can suck a fat one. Let's fucking go, PlayStation. Yeah, I just... Okay, so what the hell was this game again?
In an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive.
This feels like a VR game.
Difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize, or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we provide customizable loadouts that can be quickly switched during combat. That means you can play however you want.
I mean, I'll check this out on Game Pass or whatever, but this essentially just like, it just feels so much like a VR.
Like, encounter mid-range.
This whole thing, as I'm looking at it, this is the art style that usually VR uses, and if you look at, there's just, I don't know, it's just something about it just screams VR to me. Like they were trying to make a VR game, they couldn't figure out how to make the VR mechanics work, and then they were just like, fuck it. We'll make it a shooter. Maybe that's the reason why it looks so much like a VR game to me, is because of the whole, like, there's just so much. For some reason, this game just screams like it's trying to be a shooter, but then they have a couple melee mechanics built into it. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look fully, I don't know, something about it. Also, when they get into the whole, like, this dialogue system right here is fucking rough.
He did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby?
Dude, there is AI tech that can make this mouth sync up now. Use it. It's free. Use that shit. You can sync up the mouth. So the visual quality of this looks decent. It looks on par with nowadays. But this whole, like, why is this here? Why is this dialogue box here? It taking up like a tenth of the screen. There is no multiple options in this, is there?
I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you?
I get the whole thing of, like, closed captions, so, you know, deaf people can read the closed captions. Cool. But something tells me this is going to, like, this just reminds me so much of a Bethesda, you know, like Starfield, where you have, like, Baldur's Gate does a really good job because it's like it's there, but it's just like it's kind of down off on the side.
What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice.
So why is this box so big? You can, like, again, you could bring this box down to here, take all of this dialogue and just squish it into here. If somebody is deaf, they can definitely read this shit down here. And if not, just make a fucking accessibility option in there to make the font bigger. That is just a dial-up in the game engine. This makes no sense UI-wise. Again, this feels very double A, and it's not, you know, it's not like there's a reason why you have a difference in between major developers and you have the developers that think they're major developers, because the major developers will make everything look very not hidden, but it's like put off to the side, so your main focus is this whole screen area up here. Like, screen space is super important in games.
When you confront Private Naoki, if
is that a fucking dick emote? What the hell is that? Oh, it's an arrow. Why is it purple? It just maybe I've just been on social media for too long at this point, but that looks like a fucking sausage or whatever the hell it is. Zucchini? What the fuck is that?
If you believe the story,
that's what we need. That's what we need, actually. An RPG with dick emotes and smiley faces and stuff. That's the next RPG I want to see. The romance options will be zucchinis or whatever the fuck it is.
he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault. No, they should have never have camped in the cave.
God, the animations on... I'm sorry,
I'll take the
but
bat.
the animation... What the... Oh, because that's removing a whole bunch of shit out of the inventory. Okay. It removed 4 badges out of it. Right. God, the animations on it. Like, developers need to stop doing this, where it's just stiff animations like that. It makes the game look so outdated.
I'm going back to
barely any movement. The
But if you
lip sync
confront
is
him,
totally
if you
not
believe
there
that he
at all.
fled the site of the battle
It
as an act of
just-
cowardice,
it just makes it
then
feel
he might
dated.
challenge.
These environments look great, though.
consequences.
I will give them that. Like the shiny shit that's
RPG
going on with the environment. But
experience.
this is also the whatever game engine that you're using nowadays. This is the easiest thing to do is make it all shiny and all that stuff because you have ray tracing, you have nanites, you have this, that, and the other thing. Even if you're using Unity. If you're using the Unity engine, it's like, you know, the Unity engine can even make stuff look pretty, pretty polished. It's not, you don't need shiny to make it look fancy. It just needs to look polished. And yeah, this looks very, very well done.
By contrast,
especially with all this
lot of
like
special
neon
things
lit up stuff,
associated
the
with
water
them.
and everything.
by transitioning from
Like this looks, I would say this is probably on Unreal Engine or a form of Unreal Engine, especially with the way this water is looking. And again, that's all Unreal Engine, pulling the heavy work on that. I don't know. I guess I'd check out Avowed just to see what the hell it is. I do believe it was on Game Pass also. Yeah, it's coming to Game Pass, so you don't have to buy it. You can just check it out that way. Obsidian went from Dishonored to that. Dishonored was like one of the most influential games. I've heard so much about. I've never fully played through a Dishonored game, but I've heard so much about Dishonored that I know, and I've seen a lot of like level design stuff and everything. Unfortunately, the ones that worked at Dishonored probably don't work there anymore. So now you have the newer guard, and that's what you get.
Stamps you down.
Senua is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source. And
I will say this is really cool that she actually works as part of the development team. That she is there. That is super cool. That is very talented. Hats off, applaud to Melina Jurgens. Very good. I've seen her nominated for performance awards and all that stuff. That's cool.
Iceland. But not just her quest has changed.
She does
Senua
a good job as
herself
Senua.
has grown since the first Hellblade.
It's just the
She's
writing
made
overall.
peace with her past and is no longer
And the
in
journey
such
that you're
fear
going
of
on.
her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others.
In all honesty, I could see her like jump into maybe like Resident Evil or something and do like a minimal character on Resident Evil. That would be I could end up seeing that, no problem at all. Just see her get more work, but she's probably too damn busy working on the game. So, but yeah, again, I take nothing away from the performance capture and all that stuff. And when something looks good, that's why I'm not trying to shit on Xbox's games. I'm just saying what you're doing is not going to fully work, and you're already losing money for the Xbox, platform. You got to come up with something that is going to really drive home the fact of, oh, people actually want to buy this. They actually want to own this, other than just like, oh, people are going to play this on subscription and that's it.
Others who will reject it.
Little by little, this settlement became my tribe.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaved.
This environment and everything, the lighting and all that, top notch. The fog coverage,
enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can.
Visually,
up to
this
a
looks
point,
great.
establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements.
I think we're going to be saying that more and more. Like visually, this looks great. It's like, yeah, visually it should look
the
great.
land into chaos.
We're in 24.
And which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga.
It's not hard to make visuals look good
anymore.
anymore.
Through the settlements that she'll discover.
But
Senua will
still credit
make
to
new
the
enemies
teams that make it look good.
and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices, and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University.
Okay. If they make this whole thing of like, it's like a Resident Evil character, but their mind is breaking. Like they have this toughness, this, you know, like she has toughness, strongness, and now she is, because in the first game she was not tough, she was not strong. All of a sudden the great character arc would be now all of a sudden she has control over it, and then maybe at the halfway mark of this she can start using it to her advantage, and she can really just dig in and start just destroying people and everything. She comes across a village of other, you know, folks, and maybe they're the ones that, like, she figures out that they're the ones that wiped out her original village or something like that would be, again, and then all of a sudden she has to have the smarts enough to sneak her way in there and then just destroy the place or something. That's the type of like, oh fuck, she just did the thing. Whoa, I didn't know she was capable of that. There you go. I didn't know she was capable of that. Oh. Now she's unpredictable. Now you want to keep going. You want to see what more can she do? What's the arc? What's the character development there? This just looks like a remaster of the first game. Unfortunately. The first game was all right, and my gut feeling is probably telling me this one's going to be all right. I don't know if it's going to be as great as Microsoft wants or needs it to be. And that just comes down to, again, this is a AA studio. Dude, you know, sometimes the studios, they can get into some very good writers, like a couple people on the team that just like knocks it out the park, and it elevates them up to being this bigger status, like Larian. Larian was, you know, it was kind of that side studio where it's like, okay, if you're into that type of a game, you go and check it out. That's cool. Nice. Then Baldur's Gate comes along where they have the right people in there making the right storyline decisions and everything, and all of a sudden it just elevated up. Larian is like a top name studio now. Everybody knows it. So when it comes to Hellblade, it's like I said, they really are going to need to bring in some stuff of like, I didn't see that coming. Now I want to see what else is possibly there, and not just like 2 moments in the whole story. If this thing is, but they're also saying this is a shorter storyline, so they probably only had enough budget to do so much with it. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, but at the same time, it's like, man.
In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through a spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience.
What will they do to her? What will we do to us?
Music is a strange language in the sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep. It's not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade. On the music, we are working with Heilung, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them. We feel their...
So if you make all the sound effects and everything, binaural, is it going to jumble up? Senua's voice should be right down the middle. The voices she's hearing in her head, sure, that's binaural. That worked pretty good. If something's sneaking up on you, make that binaural of like the sound effects of footsteps and such. That scares the fuck out of you if you do it the right way. Jump scares, that seems to work really well. Alan Wake 2 just had a bunch of jump scares in it, and everybody was like freaking out and having a good time with that. But everything being binaural, You get into the muddy audio territory.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
And there you go. They are literally saying it themselves. We know this is a niche genre, and we know not everybody gives a shit about it, but we're making something that we want to make, which is good. That's good. But this is not going to be a top seller like Phil Spencer's trying to promote it to be in. Because not everyone, there's a lot of people that just don't care about anything to do with like a psychic break or whatever. And as soon as they start, Last of Us Part 2 is a major thing of that. Like Ellie is she's going through some shit. She is going through like a rage induced fucking like, freak out because of what happens to Joel. People hated that. So number one thing that divided the fan base on The Last of Us was Ellie going on the rampage because it broke her character. Now you're basically having the same thing happen here with Senua, and that's what Microsoft is like betting the farm on. Is this? They never learn. They never learn.
Well, I don't want to sound.
Maybe the most interesting thing, like I said, I think this Mana one is probably the most interesting thing of all this. First installment for the console. Mana series began as Final Fantasy adventure back in 1991. It had all the elements of a true Mana game, an emotional narrative, and the power of a quirky cast of characters. This is going very quickly. Memorable music. That's really cool. The world map and everything. I mean, look at that. It looks like... This looks like the Final Fantasy world map, the old school one, but just more water all over the place. More of an island. Weapon-based battle system. All the Mana games. There's a lot of Mana games. Holy shit. They've made a lot of... 30 years. Yeah, 30 years of history. Incorporating all we have learned into visions of Mana to create a game brimming with everything that makes this series unique. So this is very interesting that they're doing this. Again, this is Square Enix. That's going to be most likely on every single console that there is, like the Switch and everything else, or Switch 2 or whatever the hell they're coming out with. But this is interesting that they're going action adventure with this more so than RPG, JRPG style. This is going to bring in a lot more people into the series. Like they just figured this out with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's like, oh, if you take it away from turn-based, make it an action game, gaboof, you have a whole bunch of people jumping in on the Final Fantasy bandwagon now. You have so many more Final Fantasy fans. And then FF16 comes out, and now, it's like that kind of bored people because it was more of an MMO thing. So Square Enix right now, again, they need a few successes because they've had a few very bad fucking failures that has put them in a kind of a hole profit-wise. So this is screaming it could very well be a good profitable title. Rebirth most likely is going to make up a lot of lost profits there. Square Enix, I do believe, is making also the Tomb Raider game, unless that got sold. There's a bunch of Tomb Raider's that license is being shipped all over all over the damn place. So I think it would, Square Enix I think sold it to Embracer or something like that. So that one's not going to be Square Enix anymore. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do on the next move outside of this, because Forspoken shit the bed, the Avengers game shit the bed. How was the other one? There was one more. Final Fantasy 16 was kind of like hit or miss because there was a lot of slow pacedness in it. Vibrant environments of the world of Mana, where nature and the elements live in harmony. Fan favorite monsters will always be making a welcome return. Gotcha. Very similar to Final Fantasy style. Joined by the creator of some of these monsters and follower of the Mana series, Koichi Ishii. Cool. Looks like a modern day Sephiroth.
I am so happy to introduce the newest game in the Mana series to Xbox players.
Xbox.
初期の頃からシリーズ作品に登場しているモンスターたちは私が考案したものですが。
There are even some monsters in there that I had in my head since I was in elementary school. Nice. For Visions of Mana, I supervised implementation and transformation of enemies from pixelated sprites into living. It's so cute. Breathing monsters for you to encounter in the game. That's probably what everybody's sitting there saying. It's so cute. Ever since we made Final Fantasy Adventure, I focused on how best to represent the fully formed living creatures in my head using the latest tools available to me. This applies to whatever project I work on. Man, you had like Pokemon back in the day in your head. In Visions of Mana, the monsters aren't just the adorable little critters. Add frightening elements to their design as well. So they start off as cute and friendly, and then all of a sudden the teeth come out, their eyes turn red, and then they go rah, and they come after you. In the past, the Mana series has featured beloved companions to help you travel to distant lands by sea or sky. Yes, this is basically a Final Fantasy game. Visions of Mana will introduce new friends, the Cools, to quickly traverse the expansive ground map. You get a big old dog. Hell yeah. A fluffy ride. We don't want no horses. Get a giant dog. A fluffy dog. Okay, have a vague idea that was needed to be adorable enough to be a mascot for the game. And then you can sell this thing. You can make stuffed animals out of it. You can make avatars out of it. Cosplayers will make these things. Hell yeah. Market it like it's a kid's toy. Ta-da. Wait. Where's the pet the doggo? We need to be able to pet the doggo. They didn't show petting the doggo. Worst game ever. It's a very, very action RPG. Okay, so the only thing with this, it's not Game Pass. So I guarantee you that this is going to show up at a PlayStation press briefing conference thing, something or other. A PlayStation State of Play. This will show up there too. And the Xbox users are all like, yeah. And then all of a sudden PlayStation's like, oh yeah, it's over here also. It's Square Enix. Like they have to put it on everything. The fact that it's on PC means it's going to be pretty easy to get hands on with. So yeah, we'll see. I might give it a try because it's an action game.
Concept to completion. We started small, building a robust game engine, questioning our design assumptions, and prototyping.
You know what? It'd be very ballsy if they added Donald Trump into this. So then, like Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump as a modern day guy. Doesn't Civilization do that? So they have like one historical figure and then one modern day thing. So let's do that, and then we can also have the new president of Malay, whatever his name is, and have that guy in there also as the oh god, I can't think of what country he's the new president of. And then we should have the Polish Prime Minister, the Tekken character, jump up in this.
We knew that for players to feel the impact.
And then also Putin should be here, and Xi Jinping, and then we can have a full-on simulation battle royale of sorts. Holy fuck! A game like this that's battle royale. That could work.
It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life.
I'll try this. I will actually try. This is like a guilty pleasure type of a game. And then normally they are so like Civilization was fun because you just do like 3 steps and then you can go on and do the next thing. A lot of times, like Anno games, there's just too many damn menus. There's too much bullshit that you gotta learn how to finagle through.
It's not.
Okay, so then we're back in Indiana Jones. I've already talked about that. So, yeah, interesting. It's an interesting day for sure of all this stuff. Oh, I forgot to do that. Whatever. So, when it comes right down to it, again, I think Microsoft is. They came close, but they just got the wrong development teams. They've invested in kind of the wrong development studios to do what they really want those development studios to do, and I think there's too much. What's the word I'm looking for? There's too much trust in those development teams, and what they need is a little more guidance on those development teams. If they did that, like if Phil Spencer went in there and was just like, okay, guys, this mouth animation doesn't look right. You need to make it animate a little bit more. Like if Phil could be that guy, he could go so much longer of a ways of helping out all these development studios. He's not that guy though. He just goes in, he's like, this looks great. I love it. This looks great. It's amazing. Okay, cool. Here's some money. Do the thing. Make sure it comes out on Game Pass. Nice. And he leaves. So yeah. Anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap up because later on tonight, like 10 hours from now, something like that, we have The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, which is gonna be the most funniest thing ever. On the same day that Microsoft tries to drop all this, and it looks kind of like it's all right, but it's not great. Then you have one of the best PlayStation games ever remastered. It's going to have even better controls and graphics and all that stuff. And the PS5 is just going to be showcasing its magic once again. On the same day that Xbox just tried to showcase what they're working on. Oof. So, anyways, yeah. Be there. I'll have a launch night video up and ready to roll and everything. I will start the launch night video. So normally I start launch night video like right when I start the stream up. Tonight I'm going to try and start the launch night video after the like splash screen. So after this screen, then I'll run this for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll go into the launch night video. So that's how we do the launch night tonight. Hopefully, as long as everything goes well. Yeah. So it's gonna be a cool one too. I did the music stuff on it is all me. I did some music production. It's been a while. So yeah. Well, I should say it's all me, but also featuring someone else. So, anyways. That's going to do it. I'm going to wrap up. I'll just leave this up. I don't think I'm going to re-upload it or anything. So, yeah, no Let's Talk in the Books. I didn't even realize that this Xbox thing was going on. I didn't even know it was today or whatever. So, yeah, same stuff as they're always showing for Xbox. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit that 500 mark. Please give me a thumb. But yeah, it's highly appreciated if you do. I am going to be having just more and more stuff up on the channel, so yeah, there's never a dull moment, and hopefully I'm not spamming everybody's feeds, but you know, doing some cool stuff. Anyways, like I said, thanks for tuning in, thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see ya next time.